A warm welcome and good evening to all of you with the 84th episode, uh, Awareness to Good Health. Of course, we need to have awareness in everything we do, right from the time we get up in the morning until we go back to bed. We all need to be in awareness, which plays a very important role in our day-to-day handling your little things. What you're doing when you're in aware, there's a lot of beautiful things happening, which I think you will enjoy as we move forward. So before I proceed, thank you very much for creating this awareness. This is basically an awareness for me as well as it becomes a pivotal situation for every one of us that we start living in awareness. And I started this probably, I would say, around 10 years ago. Of course, before that, of course, I wouldn't call it as awareness, or I didn't know about awareness. But for the past 10 years, I live a I'm very particular in being aware of the exact situation and what we need to do. Now, in this context, if you look at what we are trying to tell is animals are much aware of the surroundings than you and me. Now, why do I say that is most of the time, if you look at the on the roadside, a lot of accidents happening, a lot of mishaps are happening. You know why? It's because of the lack of awareness. You can see the chain snatched victims, burglaries, or whatever is happening there. There is a little bit of lack of presence of mind, and that's how situation goes out of hand. And then sometimes we may have to pay a penalty in the form of losing life, and we see that very commonly, and it does happen. But whatever said and done, we all need to get into that awareness mode. And how do we do that? Now, when we look at the animal kingdom, we are supposed to be the number one in the animal kingdom, and all the other animals all come under us. Now, why we have been put the number one in the animal kingdom is because we have evolved. There are a lot of things a human being can do which the animals cannot do. Right from the thinking, right from choosing what you want, what you don't want, what is right, what is wrong, even picking up terahertz water. These are all only human beings can be able to. Now, when you look at the animal kingdom, they all live in peace. No doubt there can be little fights among themselves. All this is there in the animal kingdom. But human beings, what we are doing is we live in pieces. Now, why do I say that we live in pieces? Because we have been like bits and pieces in many areas. Right from our childhood, there are a lot of things which have been broken from us and then separated from us. Now, just imagine as a child, many of us, have that loving smile with us. We don't differentiate between a good person and a bad person. We would say everybody has uncles and aunties, or we just smile. Whereas once we grow up and once we come to a conscious mind of understanding the world, and we have been tuned already with a lot of things. Hey, you can do this, you cannot do this. This person is bad, that person is good. This is how we have been made into bits and pieces. And then, of course, when you look at our journey of life, we also start living in the same bits and pieces of life. But ultimately, what do? We need to have the awareness of all these three situations. Be it your body, you need to be aware. You need to be very aware, especially when you're talking about your mind, because mind is something which is most of the time we all are in a conditioned lifestyle. So there, creating your own awareness is a little difficult unless you come out of the box. You should exit the box of a conditioned mind and then start looking at much bigger picture. Now, only when you can do the possibility of being aware with your body, with your mind, then only you can start even looking at the soul, which is called the spirit, which is the source of our light, actually. The source of our being itself is our soul. Now, awareness of the soul is a much more deeper subject. But for this situation, I would concentrate on the body and our mind, which plays a very important role on living on planet Earth. And of course, when you're talking about body, I would prefer to always get into the epigenetics of the cellular health, which is very important for all of us. Now, Coming back to your the first step, what happens if at all you want to change certain things in life? What will happen? The first step towards a change is being aware. You need to be aware. That is when you can accept a change or you can look forward for a change. Now, the moment you start becoming aware comes with responsibility and a choice to choose what you want, what you don't want. Because awareness is something, a collective knowledge, which over a period of time you will understand that you will be able to, start not only doing things with much responsibility, but at the end of the day, you can choose. You want to do it, you will do it. If it is going to harm the universe or the fellow human beings, you can always have a choice not to do this, even though you are in awareness. So awareness is basically knowing that particular situation in a much more clearer way is what is all awareness. So there are beautiful two things will happen. Number one, the moment you are for a change, what you need to do is get into the awareness. So for example, if you start looking at awareness from this moment of life, from today, now what will happen is as you see, maybe in the next 1 to 2 months, you will start seeing changes in your journey of life. Now, why is that change is happening? Is because you're just aware, nothing else. The only situation for the change happens through awareness. Because in awareness, what can happen is there are a lot of things which you can actually ignore. There are a lot of things you can just move it away. There are a lot of things you can actually not only ignore, you can just leave that in that place and then start moving forward so that you can go on the positive direction of your journey of life. Now, when I expanded this awareness, what is that mnemonics came out was always working in alignment of rule of nature. So that means the rule of nature comes first. We are all come here as a guest, and so we will be as a guest. We will be here for a while, and then of course, once a day comes, we all will leave back and go. But there is always a rule of nature which has been there for millions of years, and we can't go and change it. But today, we have changed a lot of environmental factors, and because of which, what is happening? There are a lot of problems we are facing. So, always working in alignment of the rule of nature, which is eternal all the time, and which is simple and it is sustainable. That means if left alone, this universe or this planet Earth will sustain and move forward. It doesn't need a human being for it to make it sustainable. But we are the ones, what we are all doing is we actually screw up the whole situation of the nature, and then we will start telling we want to save the earth, we want to save the nature, go green and go organic. This is what we human beings are doing. We will actually do all the wrong things first, and then finally we start working on doing the right thing. Even then, by the time the wrong thing is getting corrected, it will be years together wherein to correct the nature. But when you talk about nature, it's already there. So what is happening in awareness is we have to follow the rules of nature, which is already existing. Next, in awareness, and basically if you look at the psychology, is a concept about knowing. It's basically knowing, perceiving, and being cognizant of events. It's not event, it's events. That means it put together in many. So we have to basically know. So even if you're looking at terahertz, basically what is happening is many people wouldn't know about terahertz. So you need to let them know. So knowing is a first step. Then perceiving, getting more information about that particular, if you're talking about terahertz, we need to perceive and get a lot of information about it. That is how we will be able to handle it. Then being cognizant of the events, that means what is happening in this terahertz situation, wherein what are the updates available? By drinking this water, what are the people telling? You have to look into a lot of situations where we can get into the awareness mode and then start picking up information. Why should we be aware? Why? What is it so big about this? Very important is it gives us the power to influence the outcomes. Now, if you're looking at something, if probably, I'll just give you an example. Now you want to go from Klang to Kale. If by chance you see the map before you leave and you know exactly where is the place you are going, you're already picking up the information. You are aware of the situation how is the traffic and how is the road conditions, and then what is the time duration it will take. What will happen? The outcome, that means reaching to that particular destination, it becomes easy. So it gives us the power to influence the outcome. Instead of, if you don't see the map and suddenly you leave and you see a lot of jam and then you go late, what will happen? Or maybe even for an interview, the outcome is something which may not be favorable to you. So influencing the outcome plays a very, very important role in when you're aware. Next, it helps us to become better decision makers. Don't you think? Yes. The same example, once again, you want to go from here to KL, but it is not for just for maybe for a shopping. But you see, it's going to rain heavily. That's what is weather forecast is telling. That is number one. Number two, you see the map and see a lot of jam. It's only red color. You cannot even go that side. So what will happen? You can make a decision whether to go there or not. So they're also getting into that awareness mode of knowing. Definitely, you can make the decision. Then it gives us more self-confidence. Of course, once you are, for example, there are a lot of situations, especially when you're talking about Terahatch water to people, unless you have a lot of information about the Terahatch water and you know what exactly you're talking about, your self-confidence will be very, very less. So you want your self-confidence to boost up. You need to get all the information about the Terahatch water and its benefits. And then when you go on, automatically, what will happen? The communication. So the result is you communicate with clarity and the intention is very, very clear. So here also the awareness plays a very, very important role in this situation. It allows us to understand things from multiple perspectives. This is another beautiful situation. For example, you want to go to KL. You can go via the SAS highway, you can go via the federal highway, or you can go by NKV. There are 3 routes available. So that means multiple perspectives you can look into to go to that particular. So the same way, any situation, you should be able to handle it because there are a lot of I would say, permutation and combination available. So that you will be able to understand the situation and understand the concept of that particular whatever you are picking up. It frees us from our assumption and biases. See, many times what happens is if you do not have the knowledge, now many times, like you can take myself, I'll give you me as a best example. Like when I was introduced about Terahatch water, I think 4 years ago, it was in January, there was someone talking about Terahatch water and then they just came, Doctor, we want to. You won't believe what happened was I already had an information about Kangen water and there was other situations which I had already picked up and kept. But there was some assumptions. So I just felt no need. I don't even need to look into this. But after 9 months, very close friend, he came and just gave the instrument and then he said, Doctor, you must use this. And that was the first time. So I picked it up and today it is almost 4 years. I'm still with this Terahatch water. I'm still recommending and I still let know people that this is something beautiful and they should give it a try. So in that way, it frees us from the assumption. So once you have the knowledge of the right information, your assumptions and biases will be cleared up. And of course, it gives a stress-free environment, isn't it? Now, when you're aware of a particular thing, don't you think you are stress-free? Otherwise, your mind is full of confusion, wherein you don't even know what is the outcome, what is the situation, what is going to happen, you don't know. But when you are aware of exactly what are the situation, what are the possibilities available, and what are the things can happen, it is a very stress-free environment, and you should be able to move forward. So why do you need to be aware? There are these beautiful 6 things you need to look into. Next, how to be aware? How do you want to become aware? Very easy. The easiest is to gain knowledge on the particular aspect. Now, here on this platform, we are talking about Terahatch water. You need to gain much more information about the Terahatch water. So you need to speak to your leaders. You need to speak to the right people and get more information. And pay attention. See, there are a lot of other people who are also who are giving you the Zoom meetings, like the Malay one, the Chinese one. What you need to do is pay attention to the subject when being taught. The way I teach might be a little different. The way I share my knowledge will be slightly different. But there are other beautiful souls who are also doing the same way of explaining and teaching about Terahatch and its mechanism in terms of business, in terms of water. But they're probably the way they they decorate their presentation might be slightly different. But at the end of the day, you as a subject, what you can do, you can pick up what is the most beautiful thing you understand. Your understanding becomes much more easier, whoever is your Zoom speaker, pick it up from them and then start moving. So you have to pay attention. And being in the present moment is a form of being aware. Like this 1 hour, wherever we are here right now on the Zoom, if your presence of mind is totally involved in what we are teaching you and what I am putting on the slides what I prepared is all today. So that means this is an information I have picked it up and I'm sharing it with you. So you are rest assured that it's a new information I am giving it to you. So what happened? You can pick it up, write it down, take a white paper, write down what I'm speaking. And then what happens? If there is a doubt about it, you can always call us back, call your upline and then get more information. So being in the present moment is a form of being aware. Now, today's topic is something to do with awareness and health I'm talking. So what is the first step you need to do? Knowing yourself. Now, knowing yourself is the first step. Now, knowing yourself means what am I talking is listening to your body needs. Body's needs is something we need to cultivate as an habit, right? From waking up in the morning to answering your nature calls, to feeling hungry, to going to bed. Your body speaks to you. And many a times what happens is we do not understand our body and we do things. And especially if you're talking about drinking water, you feel that you need to drink water, but what happens due to whatever situations, you may not drink water and then you just postpone it. The more you postpone, the more problem. Even if you are talking about nature's call, going to the washroom, many of us, because of sometimes due to the situation, we may postpone it. But by hanging on with that postponement, what happens is your body will be thinking, see, your body works all natural. That means if the switch is on for the particular answering nature call comes, you have to better go and clear it. Now, this we would have noticed that maybe going to the washroom, like we may postpone, but just imagine a situation of a diarrhea or a loose motion. You think you can wait? No way. That means the nature knows what to do. It will just throw it out. So you have to run. So here what happens is basically your body speaks and your job is to understand what it speaks. And then accordingly, you need to implement what is necessary for your body to be done. For example, 10 o'clock, you feel sleepy, you better go to bed. But many of us, what we'll do, either we are with the phone or we'll be reading or over the phone, and we postpone. And 12 o'clock, we want to go to sleep. After 12, you can't sleep. Now, why is that? Your body already is told at 10 o'clock, it wants to sleep. You felt sleepy, but you didn't listen to your body. The same thing happens early morning. You try waking up in the morning, and it is also a habit. Waking up in the morning is also a habit. But of course, with your working schedule, I would rather say you all know what is the best time for you to get up. But ideally, getting up early in the morning is something very, very beautiful. And when you start working with a proper tuning of your body, everything starts falling in place. You start going for exercise, you have proper morning breakfast, afternoon lunch, and then, your night dinner. When you balance everything accordingly, what happens is your body, what it will do, the reward. When you are aware with your own body, the reward, what you get is a healthy body. If you have a healthy body, automatically you can live a healthy lifestyle. You can enjoy the earnings, whatever you are having in your hand to the best of your abilities. Next, working towards body's optimization is a very, very important awareness you need to have. Like, for example, in today's life, there was one particular person who came to me today, and then the person has a cardiac issue, and then I did the basic screening of cellular health. Can you believe there are so many situations which I picked up in today's consultation, and I told this beautiful thing, 58-year-old, and then definitely there are possibilities of this particular person getting into diabetes, the possibilities of getting into cellular oxidative stress, possibilities of prostate getting into a problem, possibilities of his intestine not very, all these I picked up today. So what is happening? Now, there is something we need to work on when you are looking at optimization. But many of us don't even give time for our own body, and we don't look into what it needs to be done. So I always will say is you need to optimize your body from all angles, very, very important. Saying that awareness to optimize health begins how? Number one, very simple, practice a discipline protocol for you to handle your day-to-day affairs, number one. Number two, you should know what you want. This is number two. For example, if you're looking at health-wise, if you need to be healthy, now what do you need to do? You should properly plan the goal and work towards it. Now, what is a plan in a healthy lifestyle or making your body a much more healthier is you need to work on what is the diet you're going to take, what is the time you're going to wake up, how are you going to change what is necessary for your body to be optimized. See, most of us are looking at a healthy lifestyle, but at the end of the day, if you do not put efforts to work towards a healthy lifestyle, how are you going to work on? Like yesterday, there was one patient, what I was telling them was, for the past 6 months I am seeing, and I did tell them that he needs to go for regular walking, regular breathing exercise. But finally, when you measure his stomach, it is almost 110 centimeters, which is quite big. Now, with that big stomach, I already told you need to reduce the weight. Now, reducing the weight, very simple methods. What did I teach them was, do fasting weekly once, number one. Number two, if you're doing fasting, you cannot eat all the junk food. But this particular person eats all the junk food in the form of course, the rice he doesn't eat. I mean, the major food he doesn't take. He takes a lot of fruits and vegetables with all the other. Now, even if you're doing one full day of fasting, but at the end of the day, go on whacking everything, you still push, the body will reduce the weight. So very indisciplined. And at the end of the day, when things doesn't work, they will come back and tell us, doctor, nothing is happening, nothing. See, nothing is happening means if you have to properly follow certain instructions, what we give, you need to follow it. And one of the basics I teach people is breathing. Breathing is a very, very important exercise, which most of us, like the 5 seconds of breathing in, 5 seconds of holding the breath, and the 10 seconds of holding your breath out. That means it's a longer duration of expiration, which you need to do. Even to practice that, they find it difficult. So how can you help? So this is where the fourth, persistence is very, very important. You do it for one day and the next day you don't do it. It doesn't work that way. So persistence is very, very important. Now, while on the path, if there is changes happening, you be prepared for it. Very simple. You give a call to a particular person and say, okay, fine, you're going to come and give a little information about terahertz water and the device. Okay, you already picked up the appointment. Suddenly the person will say, I have an emergency, so I cannot see you, and then I will see you tomorrow. Now, in this situation, there is a change happening there, right? You are aware that you are supposed to go there. You are very clear. You are working towards it. You're persistent. But at the end of the day, there is a little change from the other person that that person is not able to see you. So what do you need to do? It's okay. Get the change out, start moving forward and see what is the next appointment and start moving forward. Very important for you in the sixth one, walk the path holistically. There is a lot of beautiful things on this planet Earth. You cannot have a single rule of thumb all the time. You cannot. You need to have a holistic approach. Like, for example, if it's raining, people will give excuses. Doctor, it was raining. That's how I didn't go for a walk. So what? Can you not do the yoga thing in your own home? You can do that. You can do a little bit of exercise, a little bit of skipping, a little bit of push-ups. So many things you can do at home itself. But many of the mindset is, oh, no, I need to go to the gym. I need to do there only. This is what many of us are. So you need to have a holistic approach towards whatever you are doing. So in awareness, you need to have a holistic approach. Then take necessary help from respective experts. Now, be it health, be it your business, it can be anything. If you feel you need help, please ask for it. You need to ask for that help. It's very, very important. Many of us don't ask for help. But in today's world, we always hesitate to ask, especially when it comes up to upgrading our knowledge. Not many of us are ready to do that. I would say no. You have to call, get the information, get the person and tell them you need a help. Always, when you say, I need a help, definitely any person under the sun would definitely say, okay, fine, I will help you. And a minimum practice of 21 days is very, very important. From 21 days to 48 days, is a very beautiful period for all of us. And when you practice it it becomes a habit. Now, a habit is something cannot be removed so easily. Everybody will just go on practicing it. Just like waking up in the morning at around 5 o'clock. If you practice it for 21 days, the 22nd day, whether you like it or not, that you will wake up at 5:30 a.m. It's an automatic procedure. It's an automatic process. Same with the drinking of water. If you're going to drink water regularly, if I'm going to tell you you're supposed to drink 4 liters of water, and you make sure that you hold two big water bottles like this, 3 liters, and then another 1 liter of water separately, and then you finish it from morning until evening. You will do it. You practice that for a few days and see after that, you will see where is my bottle, and then you will start looking for it. So certain times it is a must that you need to practice it. Now, this is a very, very beautiful educative practice in our Tadikas. Now, what do our teachers do in Tadika? They will make sure that you write the alphabet A every day, at least that whole sheet will be only alphabet A. Have you ever seen that? It will be alphabet A, in capital letters, and then in the small cursive letters. It's already there. Why they make you a practice this so many times is because they want your brain to record it and then reproduce it. So practicing plays a very, very important role. So these 8 steps, if you are getting into the awareness, there are a lot of things which will happen in the next 21 days. Start looking into. Now, if you look at the health in the center, there are so many other areas which can be looked into. It can be from your spiritual conditioning to your environmental, to your physical state, to your genes, to your food, to your medicines. It's a wide range wherein when you're talking about health. So if I'm going to talk about awareness, you need to be aware of your environment, aware of your physical state, aware of your genetics, aware of your food, aware of what medicines are you taking. And of course, when you're looking at the spiritual conditioning, it can be your love affair, you can be in the mood, then your hobby, everything. Now, everything starts put together is a comprehensive health awareness approach. So it is a bigger picture what I'm showing you. Now, when you look at this, it is totally bombarded with so many little words inside. But a healthy lifestyle is not just one. Can you look at it? There are so many things you need to look into when you have to get into the healthy lifestyle. So if I'm going to talk awareness of each word there are so many words here. There must be more than 50 words in this particular slide down here. So that means there is 50 awareness we can always look into. So this is how when you look at the awareness part, every bit of it, whatever you do, can be an awareness situation wherein you start working on. So ultimately, what will happen is we all have to work on awareness part. In whatever field we are and whatever subject we are talking, we need to work on the awareness. Now, awareness towards good health begins by drinking sufficient amount of water to hydrate the cell is what today's I'm going to concentrate on. The topic is the water. See, ultimately, we all boil down to a particular water and the water molecule. Now, what is very, very important is you're talking about the hydrating the cells. Now, this is a very, very important because hydration of the cell plays a very, very important role in multifunction of the organism as a whole. That means we as a human body, and the cell starts hydrating, there's a lot of things which happens. So if you're looking at the health part, I would definitely recommend every one of you start looking at from the cell level, because cell joined together is a tissue joined together is an organ, and the organs all joined together is your the whole human body is there. But the moment you start, because I'm not going to the atom level because that's very, very small, and then today's subject is we don't need to go to that level of atomic, looking binocular vision into it. We don't need to. We just start with the cell here. So making your cell healthy plays a very, very important role. If you want to make your cell healthy, how many cells are there? How many trillion cells are there? 50 trillion cells. Now, if you're talking about 50 trillion cells, just imagine one cell, to become aware. And each cell is aware by their own mechanism. Nature by itself, as I told you, they are all aware on its own. Actually, now it's raining outside here in Klang. Now, what's happened? The nature by itself has done its job for what it needs to do, it will do it. So in the same way, what we human beings need to do is we need to be aware to do what we are supposed to do. Now, what are the beautiful situation for us? Water is very, very important. We all know that, and everybody of you over here, we know that. Now, water carries nutrients. It's a very simple common sense. Okay? It carries nutrients to all the cells in our body. So basically what happens is in maybe 500 years ago, if you're looking at the mode of transportation was not flights, right? It was only through the water. That means they use ships to go from one country to another country. So what happened? The business started expanding. Only they could carry the whatever the products in the ship to another country. So the same way, water carries nutrients, very, very important. And it carries oxygen to the cells. Another very wonderful, this one. Imagine now, if you don't breathe in properly, the amount of oxygen inside your cells is definitely less. Now, if the oxygen is less, how many of you know that cancer cells start spreading up if there are no oxygen inside the body? That means if there is less of oxygen, automatically the cancer cell starts multiplying. It's much more easier. They grow in an anaerobic environment. That means without oxygen, they can survive. So do you want your cells to multiply in a carbon dioxide atmosphere, or do you want to give more oxygen and then make your cells much more healthier? But of course, some people will question me, Doc, I'm doing everything, Doc, but still we got cancer, Doc, what to do? See, certain situation, let me be very frank, we do our job. But at the end of the day, if you get it, maybe it's genetic, probably you get the particular problem because of your genetics. So we do not know. But what we need to do, we need to do. Then water helps to regulate your body temperature. That means if your body is maintaining at 37.5 degrees, which is normal, you need sufficient amount of water. So imagine if less water is there, that means you're under dehydration. You can feel feverish, right? Will that be because of COVID? No, it's a very simple situation. Because of dehydration, you're having fever. So what you need to do, just drink water. So many times what I noticed was, even when a person has fever and the person can consume sufficient amount of water is good enough for the poison inside the body or the foreign particles which are there inside the body. It could be organism like from bacteria to virus, which is creating that fever-like situation. When the moment you drink water, it gets diluted. So automatically things can go wrong. Things can get neutralized. But at the end of the day, if your immune system is good, only your body can fight against the organisms. Now, what are the other functions of water? It can moisten your eyes, your moisten your toes, your mouth, lubricate your joint, digestion. And very important, I put it in block letters, is water flushes out toxins and the waste products. Very, very important. Many of the human beings have constipation as one of the very, very basic problem they have. Why is that? It's because you don't drink sufficient amount of water. Now, if sufficient amount of water is there, but still your food doesn't have fiber in it, what will happen? It still will lead to constipation. That is number one. Number two, if vitamins and nutrients with enzymes is not sufficient enough to go inside your intestines, there also your intestines will not be able to function normally, even though you're drinking water, good fiber is there, but if there are nutrition deficiency also will cause a problem with your gut system. That means it cannot pick up all the vitamins which you are eating in the form of food. It cannot absorb. So something very, very important you need to understand. It is a collective. That's why I mentioned holistically you need to have a discipline of awareness. So in the holistic approach only, we will be able to get the right thing done. Many of us do not look things from holistic point of view because we have been tuned to be bits and pieces. This is the reason that many of us are not able to see in one full form. If someone is going to ask you, hey, what does it peace means? P-E-A-C-E, peace. What does it mean? You will not be able to give you a single situation saying that this is what is peace. It's a beautiful feeling of inside you and the calmness in you. And the moment you see the face of the particular person, you will say he is in peace. And many times you would have said, after a person passes away, and when you go and see the coffin down there, you say, he looks so peaceful. Now, what does it mean? That means it's a very calm atmosphere. So this is very, very important for us when you look at the holistic approach to be in peace. Now, what is it? Awareness is equal to key to good health. Water is an important element for our body. Everybody knows that, right? But just drinking water may not be a solution to be healthy in today's polluted and poisoned world. Does it make sense? Yes. Why? You might be drinking sufficient amount of water, but still, the pollution outside is something enormous. You can't even imagine. That pollution goes inside. It goes through your skin. It gets absorbed. Have you cleared it up as a waste product? No, we have not done. Even though you're drinking TerraHealth water, even though you're drinking sufficient amount of maybe 4 liters of whatever the number of liters of water, still you will face a situation where sometimes a little bit of tiredness, sometimes uneasiness, sometimes headache. All these can happen. Why? Now, this is where very important, and the message I would like to convey is holistic approach is very, very important. It is a multi-pronged approach you need to have towards health. It is not just one path of life you need. You have to look at from different angles. If this doesn't work, what is the next thing you need? If this doesn't work, what is the next? So you need to have plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D. That is when what happens is this universe cannot stop you from growing. Nobody can stop you from growing, provided you have multiple solutions in your journey of life. And multiple solutions will come only when you are aware. So hydration is very, very important. Underhydration is no good. Overhydration is also no good. Now, when you look at this, it's a very, very simple concept. Can you see the cell there, which contains, I'm talking about the whole body cells. It contains 25 liters of water. Then the remaining 12 liters of water is there in the interstitial and 3. So 12 plus 3 is 15. So totally how many liters of water? 40 liters of water. Can you feel that 40 liters of water inside your body? No, isn't it? But it does. So just imagine if you're not drinking sufficient amount of water, it can, just 2% less of water can give rise to dehydration symptoms. 2%, not more than that, just 2%. So that means if 2% of water can give, less of water can give you the problem. And most of the persons in the world, like 70 to 80% of the people are having a lot of problem because of lack of drinking water, hydration. I'm talking about hydration. So you need to be hydrated well. So on this platform of TerraHealth, we are talking for the past 80 hours or 84 hours, I'm speaking about water and I'm talking about water and I'm telling you, you need to drink water, sufficient amount of water. In spite of all this, if people are still dehydrated, so what do you say? That means they're ignoring the body. That means they are not listening to what we are talking. That means they are ready for a problem and in the form of a disease. And once the disease comes in, once again, they will have to run to the hospital and the doctors for getting a solution. Getting a solution or not, we do not know. But at the end of the day, we need to work on consuming the amount of water. On this slide, you can see two things. Dehydration causes a lot of problems. On the other side, overhydration also, when you drink more water also, see what happens is many of us don't understand if you're overhydrating yourself also, especially if you're 50 plus and then you're drinking too much of water. Also, it pushes situation where the kidneys is not able to handle it. So overhydration also can cause a headache and nausea, vomiting, and there can be drowsiness, muscle weakness. Why muscle? See, many of the times you will notice a muscle weakness in your body. So suddenly a crampy pain in your muscle. This happens when your electrolyte imbalances happen. Electrolyte imbalances your sodium, potassium, and fluorides. Many times I notice this in our cellular health analysis when I do, many of us will have potassium deficiency. Now, when the cellular potassium deficiency is low, definitely there can be collectively, it can be in the form of cramps. You will be able. So I always tell people is one of the easiest way for you to know if the muscle cramp is because of the potassium deficiency is Just drink one tender coconut. Simple. One tender coconut you just buy. Do not put sugar in it. Do not put ice in it. Just drink fresh tender coconut water. And within the next 15 minutes, if your crampy situation of your muscle or your twisting of your fingers, something like that, automatically goes off. That means it's a potassium deficiency. So you need to work on these small issues over a period of time. I think that is how you will be able to understand that you need to have a balance. So neither you should go for dehydration nor you should go for a overhydration. So what are the types of water? This is back to the square one, where I think for newcomers and other people, what are the types of water available? Very simple. In a city like in Klang or in Kuala Lumpur, tap water is the easiest thing. But those days, like in India, if you are talking, even today, the tap water, people directly collect the tap water, they boil it, they make coffee, tea, cooking, everything is done. They don't do any filtration system. But can you and I do it in Malaysia? Is it possible? Never. No way it can happen, because the tap water, what we get is a brown color like a teh tarik. So how are you going to drink that particular thing directly? So you need to have a proper filtration system outside. So in fact, if there are two water filtration systems, one for your external outside water coming in, you filter it and then bring it in. And in the kitchen, if you have one more filter, it will be better, because I have seen many times just one filter outside is not sufficient at all, because the taste of the water is still that iron taste, that metal taste is still there inside. So we have to put another filtration system inside. Then only maybe your water is potable. That means drinkable. This is number one, tap water. Second is your spring water. Of course, I do not know where we get the spring water in Malaysia. Well water, maybe if you're living in a kampung, you can get well water. Then we have the oasis. Then you have ionized water, wherein, of course, you pass a current and then you make the water alkaline and acidic water. That is ionized water. Then you have the river water. Then distilled water is available. Then reverse osmosis water is available. And finally, we have the structured water. Schumann's energy they use to create the structured water. Then you have the Emerald technology, and we can proudly say we have the terahertz resonator, which is also something to do with the structured water. So in the past, I think 10 to 15 years, there is a lot of people, especially in the European countries, they have been talking about structured water. Why? Because especially if you're talking about structured water, they are talking about the hexagon shape of the water, which is much more, the molecular size of the water is much more adaptable for your cellular function. So that means the hydration part, the detoxification part, carrying of all this is good with the structured water. Then what should be an ideal drinking water? Very simple. Potable water must be a pH of around 7.5 to 8 pH, ideally. So that means, are we supposed to drink 9 pH water or 10 pH water? It all depends on how acidic is your body. If you're a person eating a lot of oily food, fried food, a lot of fat food, a lot of food from outside, that means you need a little more alkaline water. Why? Because alkaline water will help you to, give you one free, free radical. That means one oxygen molecule it can give you in the atomic part. So if you're acidic body, you need a little more alkaline. But if you're normal, but today's, I would say 90% of our body is all acidic. That's what it happens. But mine was an acidic body previously, but after I started terahertz water, now my body has become alkaline. Now, it has been told that when you are alkaline, the body you will not face any diseases, you will not get it. I would say no, it doesn't work that way. Your body is still a machine. Your body still will go through different situations, and even though your body is alkaline, you still can face a little situation where you may fall sick. So there is no rule of thumb, just because your body is alkaline, you will never fall sick. No way. Then coming to your total dissolved solvents is your TDS, which is approximately between plus 50 to 200 is acceptable. Now, all these meters, your pH meter, your TDS meter, and your ORP meter can be brought on Lazada. And the only thing is just look for a good quality, which is a little more expensive. If you are looking at 150 ringgits to 200 ringgits, those kind of measuring devices will be a little better and the accuracy is much, much better. But there are a lot of products available in Lazada and Shopee with 10 ringgits as well. You can look for the pH and all. But I wouldn't know how good is that. But it's always safer one-time investment, go for a good quality. And your water must be clean from bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Now, for just general information, I want to ask, like how many of us collect the water from our home and go and test it for any bacteria, viruses, and parasites? We don't do it. Normally, we don't do it because we feel everything is perfect. Most of the time because of our filtration system. And then, of course, we have the ultrasonic machines which can actually kill bacteria. There are a lot of things available in the market, but still, normally we don't do it. Actually speaking, we should actually get our water tested for any bacteria and parasites. We should do that. Then it should not contain any heavy metals, chemicals, and pesticides. Now, for this, what you need to do is you should have a good water filtration system so that all these things doesn't pass through and come inside, so that in a long run, when you're drinking this water, you don't get a problem because of the toxic metals. And of course, what is terahertz? Once again, it's very easy. Terahertz is a wave in between your microwave and the infrared. Now, where is it all? It is supposed to be a very, very low frequency wave. And this is what is the technology, what they are using in our terahertz device. It is used in aviation industry, mobile industry, or medical. Of course, in the future, we have our medical X-rays, our CT scans, MRIs will all be there. Customs, they use a lot of terahertz thing they are using because they can pick up all the fake products. And of course, terahertz resonator can be used in waters and the liquids for resonating it. Now, low frequency resonated water molecule has got a linear, that means all in a straight line. Our device is emits 0.96 terahertz waves, and the molecular width of the water is around 2 nanometers, and the frequency of the water is 7.6 hertz. And our body requirement for our cellular, hydration, that means the cell water molecule to get into your cell is between 40 to 60 hertz is good enough, but ours is much, much more smaller. So absolutely within 15 minutes after you drink this water, you should be able to get the hydration test done, and then you can see all your cells much healthier. Now, coming back to the properties, see, at the end of the day, what happens is the awareness of what you need to, especially when you want to speak to the people, is you need to ask them. See, these are the properties of terahertz resonated water. Now, whatever water you're drinking, what are the properties of the water? So they may not be able to give you all the information about the water properties because someone would have come and sold them the machine and they just buy the machine and they use it. That's all, a filtration system. But here in a terahertz resonator, there are facilities which is available, which the company has given us. It's an antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antioxidant, anti-radiation, and it has got a low viscosity. So that means it's very, very slippery. Angulation is increased by 5 degrees, so thereby the hardness is reduced, and thereby absorption of the mineral is much, much better. Absorption of this water is 3 times more than the normal water. So that means your basal metabolic rate, your cell function is much better when you're drinking this water. Now, as you're drinking terahertz water, so many of us shouldn't be having any diseases, right? But still we do see people do have some issues, they do fall sick, they do have diabetes, which is not fully under control. They do have blood pressure, not fully under control. But we do see on the other side also people are getting some good benefits. So what happens is it's a situation where we do not know who is going to get the benefit, who is not going to get the benefit. Because we as human beings, individually, we are different. Just like no two thumb impression is the same, right? No two thumb impression is the same. So in the same way, no two human beings can be the same. It can be different. So in that way, it is individual. As long as you consume this water, there is a possibility that you can maintain an optimal health. And of course, as I told you, the linear arrangement of the water molecule gives you a better hydration. And it supports the telomere. Such of those you do not know about the telomere is something to do with your DNA inside. As you age, the telomere will shorten. So the moment it shortens, that means after that there is cell death and the cell cannot multiply. The moment your cell cannot multiply, you cannot move forward. You will die. If a cell can die, automatically there is no growth. If millions of cells die together, what will happen? Automatically, we as a whole body organism, we also have to die, isn't it? So here what has happened is if you're drinking Tera's water, the telomere is maintained or it can lengthen a little bit because there is an epigenetic correction which can happen inside the body. Now, some of you might ask, hey, doc, that means if I'm going to drink this water, am I going to live longer? It is an anti-aging. Actually, I have missed that particular point here. It is an anti-aging also. Of course, when you drink this water, it prevents you aging faster. That doesn't mean that by drinking Tera's water, you're going to live for 200 years. No way. We do not know. If your genetic case permits you to live for 200 years, please live on this planet Earth and enjoy this beautiful journey. But we do not know. At least as long as we are going to live on planet Earth, by drinking this water with other supportive, proper nutraceuticals, proper food habits, for proper mindset, our journey should be much more smoother. Then it does help the energy field. As I have been showing you in my dowsing rod, the moment you spray the water and then you see the energy, it opens up, right? It does affects the energy field. But there is one problem I noticed with the energy field is your mindset. If your mindset is more towards negativity, more towards problems, more towards complaints, what happens is, in spite of drinking the steroids water, your mind is more powerful than the water, It can bring down the water's energy field. It can bring down your energy field. So there, you need to understand that you need to work on your mindset. You need to work on your emotional coefficient. There are other factors also. Other than drinking water, you need to work on it. Epigenetic correction is something which is my favorite subject, and one of the best I recommend my people is drinking Tera's water. And of course, other than that, cellular analysis is very, very important. Look into it and then, correct the cells. And then as long as you can, optimize your body in the next 3 to 6 months after cellular hydration, cellular analysis, cellular hydration, and cellular analysis, I would say we all can lead a healthy lifestyle. So what are the main benefits? When you drink a Tera's resonated is easy absorption, better removal of toxins, better hydration, better absorption. So what happens? Automatically you jump into the right side wherein the healthy cells, healthy bodily function, control of diseases, illness to wellness can happen if you're on this particular resonated water. But at the end of the day, can you see the low frequency oscillation is between 0.5 to 15 hertz. Now, how much is our water? 7.5. So it's good or not? It's good. And living cell resonate between 0.3 to 13. And the brain cell resonate between 0.23 to 30. So our 7.4, that means it's a live water for our body to absorb and help our cells naturally. So as I told you in the initial stages, we need to blend with nature. Awareness is blending with our nature. What are the advantages? It can be boiled. It can be put under pressure. But it has to be kept in a glass container for more than 6 weeks. Is good enough. But always I say, prepare it freshly and drink it is the best. And of course, we have all the certifications, everything is there. And best to keep it in a glass or mud pot or ceramic or food containers. What you need to avoid is keeping it in a metal containers, exposing it to sunlight, and as far as possible, freshly prepare it and drink it as. And of course, the company has given us our silicone jug. It is much more easier for you to store it in and then move forward. And many of you would have seen this, right? Can you see the picture here? Hydrated, well-hydrated cell is something around there, but there are some like spiky cells also. That is actually cell dehydration. Very, very important. On this side, you see all clump cells. But here, even though the cells look round, but there are a lot of cells which are spiky. That means they need hydration properly. That means when they drink water for the next 3 to 6 months, probably later on only all the cells will become round and then the shape is normal. Now, who can? What are the things you need to understand? The water must be pre-filtered before you are resonating. Very, very important. If you're having a reverse osmosis filter, Just add minerals and resonate it. It's not at all a problem. And if you have ionized water system, use a pH of between 8 to 8.5 is good enough. But you can, as I told you, if you're eating a lot of oily food, spicy food, and non-vegetarian, you can definitely resonate a 9 to 9.5 pH, and then you can drink that water. There's not a problem. But you cannot drink a 9.5 pH for a very, very long time. Very important to note, because it has some health effects in the long run. So therein you are not supposed to, because your body still needs function between 7.5 to 8.5. And you have to resonate the water of people only when you know that there is a proper filtration system, and then only you resonate the water. And you see, many times what will happen is a friend will come and bring the water and say, okay, can you resonate it? And we do not know from where the water he brought it, and then you will resonate it and give, and the person will take it back, drink, and then if this is a problem, he'll say, hey, you resonated and gave me, I'm having this problem. So you need to understand, you need to better make sure that it is from a very good filtration system. They need, and of course, if it is from a bottle from a very reputed company, absolutely no problem. You cannot resonate direct tap water. Sorry, you cannot. And if the source of water you don't know, also do not resonate it. And water with impurities, with heavy metals, please do not. And contaminated water with bacteria. Of course, all this we do not know. If you know that the water is clean, crystal clear, and good filtered water, then you can resonate it. And of course, I've seen a lot of people in Malaysia, they just collect the direct tap water, they boil it, and they think that boiling water will remove all the heavy metal. See, boiling water will only kill all the bacteria, viruses, and from that. Okay, when the boiling point is high, then of course these organisms will die. But how about the heavy metals, the iron? Have you ever thought of it? The pesticides inside it, what will happen? Like this, if you, that is why I would always advise, do not drink a boiled water direct from the tap. You need to filter it, see to that it is safe for drinking, and then only you need to move forward for either resonating or even drinking. So finally, what happens is, the message what I want to give you all is, you need to have awareness in everything you do. It should be in a holistic approach. You need to have awareness in every bit of it. You cannot have awareness in one thing and not the other thing. So have a common platform wherein start living a life of awareness in every aspect, and then start moving forward. Now, take charge and responsibility. Anything you do in your moderation is always good for you. In the pursuit of cure, do not start collecting information from Google, WhatsApp, universities, and look for healing solutions for the body, mind, and soul as a holistic, and get connected to the right souls for your journey to move forward. And of course, I repeat today, this device is not a medical device, so definitely you cannot proclaim or claim that there are medical cures after drinking this water. The reason is we do not have any clinical study, but there are a lot of people who have been benefited by drinking this water. This is, yes, definitely there. But if there is a medical perspective, which I am going to look at, then we will look at, have you given the water for 1,000 people having a particular problem? And then out of the 1,000, how many people got the benefit? We have to do a clinical study for 3 years or 4 years, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. There are different stages for our clinical assessment. That's why we do not want to claim. So it's much more easier for you to just talk to people and tell them that it is a resonator, and it is a device to break the water molecule into a smaller molecule, and it should be a filtered water. And when you drink this water, absorption is much better, and thereby you give the benefit of the goodness of water for you to drink, and the body will do what is necessary to do. Good enough? Finally, before I conclude, I just wanted to give you this tip. If at all, if you think you want to have a good health, I talked about awareness to good health. This is something which you all can do is, you can start writing this. Golden sunrise, thanks change, find divine order be. These are the 2 sentences. What you can do is, you can start, you can see on the right side, I've been reading. So repeat it 7 times, 21 times, 48 times, or 108 times every day in the morning. This is called a switch word, which actually basically switches your brain into healing. So this is basically the switch word for good health. So you can write this every day. And even if you're a healthy person, write this. There's nothing wrong in writing golden sunrise, thanks change, find divine order be. Absolutely, it's an amazing concept of, and I am doing this regularly. Switch words, I think it's almost 3, 4 years. I'm doing this every day morning. One page I will write down. And there are a lot of other things you can do in terms of business. There are a lot of switch words available. In terms for relationship, there is a switch word available. You want money, there's a switch word for